yeah, 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 yeah. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another So-So production. We're doing it. It's Monday, November the 21st, 2022. Thank you for joining me once again. If you've been with me for a little bit over 2 years now, thank you very much for all the love and support. If you're just joining me today, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram, on YouTube, on patreon.com/RobSadri, where you come every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the laughs, for the ha-has, for the attempts, for the tries, for the ones, we get into it. We mix it up, we have fun around here. And that's what we do. We keep it silly, we talk about everything and nothing. So go ahead, get comfortable. Oh man, it is. Ladies and gents, first of all, this episode is going out to all the ones that work into the AM, that work till like 2, 3 in the morning. You know what I mean? Shout out to the ones that also happen to also work in the AM, but perhaps not as late or early rather. Maybe 5, 6 in the AM. Shout out to them guys and gals out there who are the early birds. You know what I'm talking about. And shout out to everybody else who does it during the PM as well. Depending on your schedule, not to make it like, oh, you got to be an AM worker to be like, you know what? But shout out to everybody is what I'm trying to say. So everybody out there, whatever you're doing, whether you're in school, whether you're out there hustling and bustling, attending to your business. You got a little bakery, you got a little coffee shop, you got a little individualized, personalized library or a bookstore of sorts. You got a record store. You got a little sushi joint. You got, knickknacks. You got a whole store for socks. You got undergarments for ladies and men. Man, oh man, you guys are out there doing it. Shout out to everybody. You're everybody. Pilots, helicopter pilots. Skydiver the instructors for skydiving. Shout out to those guys and gals. Not one of those jobs that gets thanks publicly too many times. Shout out to those fellas and ladies who climb the high buildings, the skyscrapers, and do the old S-shaped sequence with the squeegee, cleaning up them windows, making it nice and shiny. Brave men and women. Shout out to the ladies and gents who go down in the underground and take care of maybe railing, underground attendance to railing for transport. We need to fix the railing for this subway system, for example. It's a thing. You know what I mean? It's always working. You and I are like, oh, of course it's always working. Guess what? Guess who keeps it working? These men and women, the ones that we don't see, not the mole people. They're there too, doing things. But these people they're level ground dwellers, but they'll dabble in the underground every once in a while. Maybe 35, 40 hours a week. I don't know. 20 hours a week. Somebody's got to be down there doing things. Shout out to people who are, maybe you're into arts and crafts. Maybe you make things with your hands. Maybe you're a man. Maybe you work with wood. You could say you're a man, you're a lady, and you like to work with hard wood. Maybe you're a carpenter. And man, you're cutting things, you're sanding it down, you're hammering it, you're using screwdrivers, whatever it is that you're doing. Essentially what I'm trying to tell you, shout out to everybody. This is for the peepsies, us, just the gang, the syndicate, which is pretty much worldwide at this point. Thank you very much. We are an international syndicate, expanding all the way from here in Toronto, Canada, to all across the globe. Believe you me, we are doing it internationally. So shout out to everybody in Canada, in the United States, in South America, in Mexico, in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, Antarctica, all the islands. Everybody, shout out to you. Oh, you go-getters out there. You get me for whatever it is that you're doing. You get me excited. I see you out there. You keep him busy. It's nice. Busy's good. Let me get a sip of this bad boy. We're gonna have some fun today. Man, oh man. I think over the weekend, we had down south in Buffalo. We collectively, not us, but we got hit by it too a little bit. You guys down there got 77 inches of snow, if I'm not mistaken, in the Buffalo area. If I'm not mistaken, again, do check the facts for yourself. But I saw a little video here and there. Oh man, it was insane. 77 inches. That is like up there. That's like, I don't know how many, that's like, 5, 6 feet of snow, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Do the math. I don't know how, like in terms of 77 inches, though. I think it's a record of sorts, and we got a little bit of snow here, but 77, but it's just one of those reminders. It's just like, who's the, you ask yourself, everybody's like walking around, I'm the baddest man, I'm the baddest bitch alive. With nobody even comes close in terms of touching our record. Mother Nature, she will just, oh, you think you can go around there and like, do whatever it is that you gotta do. She'll come in and just be like, she'll hit you with 77 of that pure, and be like, deal with it for the next few days. Or reversies, you know what I mean? She'll just be like, oh, this region, we're gonna just, no rain. And that's what it is. It's wild, dude. 77 inches. It was just one of those reminders I saw it. I'm like, oh my God. And we get heavy snow up here as well in Canada. We have our own records, of course. But it was a reminder that winter is approaching. And yes, we did get a little bit of the snow. Some areas in Toronto and further up north, east, west, got a little bit more than the core area. But nonetheless, that's one of the things that it's beautiful. It's nice because it turns into a winter wonderland. If I'm being completely honest, I would like it to, but that's what it is with nature. You can't control it. I'd wish for it to be a little bit consistent in terms of how long it lingers on, excuse me. But that's what it is, man. Here we get like 5-6 months of what it is. So shout out to everybody doing it in Buffalo. Man, let's go, baby. That's what it is. I feel you guys out there. New York, Buffalo, these regions were very similar in terms of climate, in terms of weather, in terms of attitude, in terms of people as well. A little bit, same, but diff. But nonetheless, man, we are one. We're all, hard people on the outside, but like mushy on the inside. Some more or less harder on the outside as well. And also, everything is variables and varying degrees, but you know what I'm talking about. A good mixture of solids and liquids, basically. You know what I'm talking about. Shout out to the gang, thank you very much. 77 inches, that is nutso, dude. That's basically, you should probably start living in the snow at that point. You know what? What's the point of, like, if you get 77, that's like, that's an additional, build a bedroom. You know what I mean? Why, if you always wanted to expand the house, why does it have to be, brick and mortar? You know what I mean? 6 months, it's like an addition, that's a guest bedroom, which is actually how you like your guest bedroom to be, because you don't want it to be like nice and cozy. We'll put in a couple of pillows. You could definitely do that to spruce it up, because you don't want to like come off like you don't want guests to stay over. You'd like guests to stay over, but like you don't want them to get too comfortable. You know what I mean? Overstaying their welcome and what have you. Past 3 days, anybody, I'm talking anybody really, even like the past 3 days, you're just like, oh. So nice little frozen igloo extra bedroom in the backyard, right next to the garage or the garage. You know what I mean? That's just good hospitality and taking care of your guests. But like, again, pillow to spruce it up so it's welcoming, but the cold atmosphere will be a nice reminder that, you know what I mean? You just had some food, we've hung out, you had a couple of drinks, nice. We've caught up, we've bonded, and you're staying up 3 days. I think that's a good, and that's, again, colder temperatures will definitely be one of those like factors that'll, it's implicit. It's not like overt. You're not like, you don't want to be rude or anything. And should they want to stay longer, by all means, that's what it's there for. That's why we made it together. But anyway, man, not to linger on to weather and climate for too long. It's just, it's beautiful. It's winter. We're definitely around the corner of Christmas. We're bending at the curve or something, and it's, skirt. It's holiday season, baby. So whatever you're doing out there, you might be shopping right now. Shopping is probably a thing for a lot of people here or there. You know what? It's not even about the gift that you purchase. It's about the thought. You don't even need to necessarily even need to buy gifts. It's more that is definitely, Christmas is approaching, and everybody's this year, I think, lingering on from like the past couple of years, even this year, I think overall, everybody's probably going to be a little bit more, I'm assuming, maybe this is just me projecting and I don't want to project, maybe a little bit of people will be a little bit more careful about how they spend their doll hairs, is what I'm picking up on, but I may be completely wrong. We'll see how they, but that's what it is. One little baby step at a time, and we keep on rocking and rolling, moving forward, having fun around here. Man, oh man, what did I do over the weekend? A lot of things, a little bit of work, a little bit of fun. Happen to watch a bunch of stuff. I love, you know me, I'll watch, you know, I'm a big fan of movies, any type of movie really. But I do have a habit of every once in a while dipping into the older stuff, especially like even B movies. Love B movies, love cult movies, love, you know, blaxploitation movies. And I rewatched a movie that I've already watched in the past. That's a half an hour long movie, but I'd forgotten what it was about. And then halfway through, I remembered, but I already like committed to the first 15 minutes. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna watch this till the end. It's called Rising Scorpio or Rising Scorpion. Rising Scorpio. Yeah. I think it was like made in maybe 74, if I'm not mistaken, half hour long. And it caught me the first time, and it caught me again the second time. I'll give you a little, if you know, and again, spoiler alert, it's been like more than 50 years, I think, that it's been put out there, so not really spoiling it, but I think it is definitely one of those things that, you know, go check it out. I do recommend it. I simply, yeah, there are some elements that, again, caught me off guard the first time, and again, I'd forgotten that I watched it, and I just realized halfway through it's got a little bit, you might, you know, initially, there might be hints as to what it's about, or what it entails, not that what it's about, because there's a little bit of imagery. I'll lay it out like this. There's a little bit of imagery, and there's a little bit of like the topics discussed, I guess, or portrayed rather, because there's no dialogue. It's only half an hour long, and it's beautiful images, and it's shot nice, and it's cool. And yeah, it's set to soundtracks and music, half hour long, but there's definitely themes in it, and you'll discover these themes, and some of those themes are, you know, it's out there. It's gay Nazis. I'll just say it. It's gay Nazis are, you know, depicted for at least, I'll say, a few minutes in there. And there's definitely gay stuff in there too. So again, you know, first time didn't know. Second time I'd forgotten, then I realized, and you know, it was nice. It's different. I'll say it like this. It's different, and yeah. But there's definitely, yeah, there's the element of gay Nazis. So if, you know, if you're like, yeah, what am I getting myself into? I didn't know the first time either, but the second time it's nice. It's not, it didn't occur to me that it might be like coming in with homoerotic themes. I should have probably picked up on it, but I just thought it was an older movie. I thought that's just how they did it back in, like, you know, 50 years plus, you know, it's just a bunch of dudes. It's showing a bunch of dudes, and you're like, you should have probably started to guess right off the bat. If they're like, no, it's half an hour long. That's the thing, man. If I didn't tell you what it was about, and I just told you to go check it out, or you happen to, maybe you've already been down this path with your boy, and hey man, you're not alone out there. I just want you to know that you're not alone out there, and it's art essentially is what it is, and yeah. There's definitely like guys working on motorcycles. They're wearing jeans, a bunch of different guys, jeans. I'm talking leather jackets, all of which are items that I happen to sport, sometimes together or apart, you know, leather jacket or full leather, pleather, yeah, same concept, you know what I'm talking about. And jeans, who doesn't wear blue jeans? So I'm just like, okay, dudes, and they're working on motorcycles, and I don't ride motorcycles. I did have a electric bike, which was pretty dope, 20-30 kilometers an hour, not gonna lie. But you know, I'm not like a hoghead, as they call them, or I'm not like I'm not like a Harley Davidson aficionado, if you will. I've never, you know, I may look like the type of guy that's got a chopper. I may look like the type of guy that's, you know, pedal to the metal, and like, I'm about the exhaust, I'm about the fumes, I'll tell you that much. So that's the thing. So I'm seeing fellas, and it's again 30 minutes long, fellas sporting jeans, leather jackets, and I'm just like, they kind of look like, okay, they had like the greaser vibe to them. All right, that's you know what I'm talking about, like 50s 60s greaser vibes, and like that's what I'm just like, okay, motorcycles, whatevs, they're like, maybe got mechanical aspects to it. It's men working with their hands. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Innocent, going in there thinking it's just about, oh, nice, man. This is, and I'm the type of, you know, always a little bit of me is just like, oh, an older gentleman working on an automobile or a machinery or something that I can learn. You know what? It's, oh man, oh, it's like, it's what it is. It's a little bit of that, like reaching out, trying to like, whatevs. Daddy issues, will they ever go away? It's gotten way better over the years, but you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, it's potential learning experience, maybe. You know what it is? It's just like, humans having experiences, and that's what it is. So half an hour into it, I'm still like, oh, I skipped way too far ahead. So yeah, I watched maybe like 10 minutes of it. It's just like these guys working on bikes, wearing leather, wearing jeans, cruising around the city, this, and then, 15 to 20 minutes in, it starts to get a little bit, they start, do a little bit of, they get rowdy, they get, and then they go into like a little church, and then there's imagery, and that's what it is. I'm telling you, it's a little bit gay. It's a few minutes of gay Nazi stuff that it was confusing. It was confusing, and that's why I was like, what is happening? So that's why I couldn't stop. And then the second time it's just like, okay, I know where this is going, but at the same rate I'm like, okay, the way it's shot, and yeah, older stuff, because again, I think the budget of the movie, I looked it up, if I'm not mistaken, that's incredible. It's $16,000 back then. And or was that another movie that I wanted to talk about? But nonetheless, in the same period, it was like, that's the thing, minimal extra. It's just basically humans, maybe outfits. Lighting is all very natural. If you're in the night shooting at nighttime, for example, if you see somebody in a scuffle and it's in an alley, and then there's a part where the scuffle breaks out, somebody knocks somebody out, for example, and then they're off into the distance. In today's beautiful world of cinema and film, because of the great tech, and I'm not complaining, it's just beautiful that we have all these, great lighting, great, like, you see you'll see the fella, for example, if he's running down an alley and it's dark, you'll see the fella kind of go off into the distance, and you'll still be able to see a little bit of him until he really gets far away. But with, again, maybe talking 50 years ago, you'll see a fella get in a scuffle, the fight stops for whatever reason, one fella or lady happens to run, you immediately, as if you were really in the dark outside, you'd lose sight of them, and you only see a little bit of a flicker of a light in the far distance. And even that, it wasn't like a clear light. It's not like, what is that? Is that a lamppost? Is that just like, is that a building with maybe a light on? You don't even know. So it's kind of more realistic, and then, I don't know, not realistic. It's just it's a cool representation of, it's a time capsule, and it's art. It's beautiful is what I'm trying to tell you. Check it out if you like, if you like movies, if you like random stuff. I also happened to watch another movie. This one was probably, this one's hour and a half, I want to say. Blaxploitation movie. What's the name? Smooth Velvet, or Velvet Smooth. Smooth Velvet, I want to say. And yeah, it's, again, beautiful. I'm not gonna, give away the whole thing. Go check it out. But it's really cool. It's about, like, without giving anything away, there's an element of a private eye situation, which I'm a big fan of, like a little, private detective agency doing private detecting, which is pretty dope. And it's, it's got cool music. It's got real people without, and what I mean by real people is that, again, like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but something from a few decades ago seems a little bit more untampered with all the, again, I'm butchering it, or like extras. You know what, if something looks a little bit, there's a certain line where something looks sharp and clear, and then you go into the realm of this looks sharper and more clear than what reality looks like, because like what we view with our eyesight is limited, but sometimes with the magic of cameras and lighting, you'll be able to see more or less depending on, I guess it's a little bit more natural. I guess it's a little bit more just, it's a little bit more, some are independent, some are, I guess, working with studios and what have you, but you see the, I guess, element of, I guess there's a rawness to it. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's where I think that's why I'm attracted to those older movies and newer movies too. Love newer movies too. And those were just like, you watch those visually, you're like, oh, look at their dresses, look at the clothing, look at the outfits, look at the way they move, look at the way they talk, the slang, the things that we still use today, the things that we've not used for quite some time, the demeanors, the way people carried themselves. Walks changed through, I guess, eras or decades. You'll notice people like, in the 70s how to walk, in the 50s they walked a different way. I guess, in the 90s, thousands, it's all really, really cool, intricate stuff that you see people as a group evolving and just doing this dance that we do together. And it's beautiful, man. That's what I'm trying to say. Watched those, they were amazing. Watched a little trailer of a movie on Netflix that's coming out sometime soon, and it got your boy watery-eyed. And I'm not, it was just like, it was one of those moments your boy gets watery-eyed quite easily. It doesn't take much to get me watery-eyed. A good wind, a good, a nice, beautiful, emotional song, a nice movie, and that's what it was. It was just, it's called, I don't know if it's out yet or not, but it's called First Love. It's a Japanese movie, if I'm not mistaken, out there, First Love. And yeah, I'm just watching the trailer, and I don't know what it was. Emotions were just coming up, and I'm just like sitting on the couch trying on. I'm like, oh, I'm at this point, I know it's gonna happen, but I'm like trying to like stop myself, or rather just like prolong the, what is it even? What is even crying? If it's just it's your body rather just getting rid of extra moisture is what that is. I have too much water, although I don't even drink enough water probably. What is even crying is what I'm trying to say. So your boy went out of his way. Like, I'm just like sitting on the couch, like tilting my head, have the water droplets go from like the tear ducts to the edge of the eyeball. They're just really, if anything, if we were to examine it objectively, it's not even crying. It's just literally, it's do you not keep your retina moisturized, son? How dry are them? Are you walking around with them ashy pupils? Ha! 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 Watched it for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it caught me at the end. I couldn't keep it in. A couple of them just like, straight face cries, and I'm like, oh, this is like what it is. Got me emotional because it's first love. Who can't relate to all the, oh, I know it's love. First of all, it's in there, and it's like, oh, to people. Is it first love? Is it like, and whatever. Not, it's, forget the first part of it, but like just, oh, it was mushy. Shut up. You shut up. You, Who's crying sometimes when they get emotional for whatever you clearly, and it's fine. It's fine. It's completely fine is what I'm trying to tell you out there. If you happen to watch, maybe you watched that trailer too. Maybe it wasn't just, you're not alone out there is what I'm trying to tell you. Fam. God. Wasn't even anything, I don't even know what it was. It wasn't even anything like, it's a good movie. It looks like a good movie. But it wasn't like one of the, I don't know what it was. I was just like, oh, love, two people. Oh, emotions, sending signals to the old brain. Brain misfiring, tear duct opening, valves, squirt. But that's what men do sometimes. Strong men in touch with their emotions, but not too much. You don't want to be like, because there's a fine line which any of us on any given day can easily cross and go from being in touch with your emotions to, so it's what it is, and everybody's different, and it's okay to be different, and it's okay to cry. Do you need to cry? Are you crying now? Don't cry. Or cry. Don't cry, because this is a comedy show after all. Why are you crying, man? Turn that frown upside down. There you go. Much better. So watch that. It was a thing. And then what else? Is a cartoon series on Netflix as well, and the second season was out. I watched that as well, and at the end I also cried at that too, because Inside Job, I want to say, or Inside cartoon with the, all about the Illuminati and like secret societies. Inside Job and Inside, it's just a job, man. And at the end, not gonna give anything away, but like also spoiler alert, a little bit of it is like it's clear that the focal point is like deciding between love and work. And isn't that relatable also to many people out there doing the things that requires your attention in the field of work? And then there's love and work, and love and work and life. And it's all about a beautiful balance that you must master by mixing and matching and growing and learning and striving for things and all aspects of life. And that's what it was. Saw that, I'm like, oh man, hit another spot. So it took a trailer, minute and a half, 2 minutes. That's what it is. Eyes can't be ashy out there. That's what I was doing. And then watched the series, came to an end, and it also for a couple of minutes it was just like, whatever, dude. So that's what men do. Crack the old neckaroo, there it is. Oh yeah. Good times, good stuff. But moving on, other exciting things that are occurring right now around the world. There's a lady that I like to mention her name because she's just like, this is really cool. I want you guys to, I don't know, in some shape or form, maybe support her, help her do more. In some shape or form, if it's a thing, I think we can do that. I don't know. Tanya Herbert. Shout out to Tanya Herbert. She's 39 years old. She has now been recognized as the largest female feet in the world, with feet that are 18 inches female size, which is, so that's shout out to Tanya, and that's an amazing thing. I just saw that, and I like looking up records and different stuff sometimes, and I guess that just has been picked up by the old algorithm that happens to pay attention to me and looks after me and cares about me and knows what I like, so it gives me more. I'm not into feet. I don't have a foot fetish, but I am into records. I'll be like, oh, what's the record for this thing? What's the most this, that, the other thing? You know what it is? So I guess this, tallest person, shortest person, fattest, I'm all about that shit. Love it. Want to see you guys like doing special things that are unachievable. And sometimes it's due to your own efforts. Sometimes it happens to be due partly to your own efforts and a little bit of whatevs. That's a gift, a genetic gift of sorts. So this lady, man, Tanya, size 18, female. I believe that's a size 13 male, which is, I'm a size 12, 13, depending on the shoe, I'm a size 12 in terms of length, but I do have wide feet. Papa's got wide feet. It's spread and wide. So I can't have anything so sometimes I'll have to, depending on the shoe, if it's size 12, but if it's tight, boys gotta go size 13 to, because that's what it is, wide feet all day. Shout out to all the men and women out there rocking wide feet. You know what I'm talking about. The struggles is not really concerning, because to be honest, I'd rather have wider feet than like narrow feet, dude. I don't want to have like slim, narrow feet. I've got good center of gravity this way. I got, it takes a lot to like throw me off balance, I'll tell you that. But nonetheless, man, it's not about me today. It's about Tanya, and fucking 39. Killing it. Size 18. I believe she's fairly tall as well, and her parents were also very tall, so that's, she's a larger lady, and I'm intrigued by these, again, records and different things, and man, I think she's like 6'8" or 6'9", which is tall. And then big feet, size 13 feet, men's 13, women's 18, which is, man, that is a full subway, it's larger than a subway sub, and that is really cool. And it just gets me to think, like, what would man, she could do many of things with, somebody, shoes, socks, accessories, and like do a whole thing, because it's like she could be like the poster lady for people with big feet. They're a population. We're out there. I'm not like, I don't have like 12, 13 is fine. I'm like borderline normal, and anything above like 12, 13, it gets a little bit like you're packing something, or it's what it is. I don't even know if there's a correlation between that, but we should ask questions. Always ask questions. Do not remain silent, and then unless it's been answered, unless it's like redundant, unless it's like a moot point or something, man. But always ask questions, doggy. So the point is, size 18 would be, so many benefits to it. You could legit, if I had larger feet, slightly even larger, I would water ski with no skis. I'd just be up there, just like, holding out that line with my, hand on the hip on the line, with the just feet's rocking and rolling, taking, just, catching some air. And they'll say things like, he's catching some air, that's gnarly, bro. And I'll get up in the air and I'll cowabunga, man. Fucking with them large feet, that's what I would do if I had larger feet. A man can dream. A man boy can dream. And Tanya, you're out there living it. So I wonder if that's the thing that you've attempted to ski on your feetsies. You should, if you've not. And I don't even know if she'll watch this. She probably will not be watching this, but nonetheless, I'm putting the word out. She should get something. And people with records should do. Just saying. I know it's pretty cool. And also, I think, Tanya, throwing it out there for you, I think there's a good I'm not one of those dudes, but there are plenty of dudes and ladies out there who apparently pay for feet for many purposes. It could just be like you like paint your toenails and like put it up, especially because you're a lady. Male feet have not been a thing. I wish we could make them into a thing. I don't have the. I have regular feet. They're not like, they're not pretty. I'll tell you that. They're men's feet. They're men's feet. They're kind of, they're just, it's for work. It's for walking around. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look hideous, but they're men's feet. You know what I'm talking about? So there's a thing. But we could make that a thing too. We gotta diversify the old portfolio. You want to see them toes, but like, probably not these toes, but Tanya's toes. I'm saying that probably, consider it on the multiplicity of platforms that are out there right now catering to different. I'm not saying that whatever. It's just a suggestion. I'm just saying people will pay good money for that. Largest feet in the world. People will pay great money for that. I'm intrigued just talking about it. You got the world's largest feet, woman. 8 billion people, 4 billion ladies, and you, my dear lady, have the largest feet on planet Earth that we know of anyway. There might be somebody out there just like fucking walking around with like size 19 or 22, but right now we don't know about them. So I'm saying enjoy the ride. And yeah, maybe your offspring one day will have. That is awesome, man. Fuck, I want large feet. For my body, I think I got large hands, but it's no use. Like it's not proportionate to my other, like my hands and feet are not probably like the most proportionate in terms of like, it's not the biggest hands, but like just what it is. So, and it gives off the wrong impression too with like large feet and hands on a dude. People make assumptions, and I don't like when people assume, because that way you're just getting disappointed. And I'm like, this is not a representation. It's alright. We've talked about it's fine, is what it is. But I don't want anybody to be like, I wish, if anything, if I had my choice, I'd probably go a little bit smaller in terms of hand. That way it wouldn't be like a letdown. It'd be like, oh my God, he's got small hands, probably like a small, But then all of a sudden it's just average. You're like, oh, that's bigger than I thought. So, whatever. It was whatever. It is what it is. So I'm just saying, in terms of something got, everything else, it works. Everything works. Everything's fine. I'm good. This is perfect. I love it. I genuinely do. I wouldn't change it for it. What I'm just saying is that, like, if I had any input in the design of things, if there were a few options, I'm not saying there's probably too many to be like having individual discussions. I think there's just like molds, and sometimes things get mismatched. You're supposed to get hand A to B, you get hand A to G, for example. It's just like a conveyor belt of, and then sometimes, people make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And the universe is also, we're a part of the universe, and sometimes there are mistakes in the universe as well. And I'm not saying this is a mistake. I'm really happy about this. Like, this is fine. And hands do plenty as well, but it does give the wrong impression. And yeah, if I could have had like regular size hands, but maybe a couple extra inches on the feet, would have been fine. Because that way, again, water skiing, I could have probably been, I'm a decent kicker, but if you got big feet, the bigger the feet, probably the stronger the kick. And that could be both for like sport and like just like recreational kicking as well. I'm talking about like kicking a can loose on the streets. Much easier with a larger foot than it would be with, let's say, a size 6 or something. Bigger surface area, just higher chance of probably you hitting the target, or at least whatever you want to aim at. The bigger feet, if I had ginormous feet, I'd get into like I'd be on some grapes. I'd just be moonwalking on some grapes, making some grape wine with my large feet. That's what I would do. Because then again, you wouldn't have to exert as much energy because it's bigger feet. Makes sense. And man, that's amazing. So again, that's another idea right there, Tanya. Killing it right now. What else could you do with big feet? Honestly, like that's the beauty of it too. If you have enormous feet or like just larger than usual feet, it'd be, if God forbid you go missing for whatevs, it'd be easier to like track you down because everybody else is very like, normal sized feet, but then like, retrace your steps. We know where such and such is. Clearly, those are his or her feet. Those are her footsteps. They'll say that. Those classic lines. They've dropped it before. They'll say it again. So that's what it is, man. It'd be great. But then it also on the other side of the same coin is the con of that bad boy. So if let's say God forbid you didn't get lost, but let's say hypothetically you're like, man, I'm killing it in my career. At one point I am, I'm working, you're working in like insurance, you're working in interior design, or so you're working in providing medical equipment to doctors and nurses or whatever. You're working at the office, you're in HR, you've had a run, it's been a nice stint, and you're like, I'm gonna fake my own death and get away with it. Beauty of that is you've put away enough money and all that jazz, but the sad thing is, again, they'll be able to trace you with your large feet. It'd be harder to cover those tracks. So on the upper hand, if you go missing, not so willingly, we'll be able to find you. That's a bonus point. But if you want to go missing on purpose, in this day and age with the cameras and all that, but I'm just saying, like, the big feet probably don't help either. It'd be really hard to not recognize which way you've gone. It's like, and even in terms of like, how you get lost sometimes, or like you wanna like, let's say you're in the middle of a jungle or you're in the middle of a desert and you wanna like, someone's chasing you. I don't know what you're doing out there. Someone's chasing you. You gotta like cover up your tracks. It'll actually take you longer to cover up your tracks with you're getting your machete out. You're chopping down some like bushes and just trying to like do a little bit of a sweep. It'll take you longer, larger feet, but that's what it is, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm assuming you're not being chased in any scenario, and maybe you are, but like not you personally, not you, but somebody out there is. Somebody out there is today, right now. Somebody right now is getting chased for whatever reason, which is a thing. So hopefully they've got big feet so that we can help them out later. But those are just some of the pros and cons of having large feet. That's beautiful, man. That is beautiful. Large feet. Yeah, if I could have gotten a little bit larger, I would have. But I'm still, I'm still young. I can still, you never know. You never know. I might still like squeeze out a couple of inches on them toes. I've been trying in other places, not been working, but toes might be the place that it manifests. All this like, concentrate, focus, mind over matter, grow. And it turns out the toes do listen to the body and the mind. Anywho, anytime, any place, ladies, doing it big on a Monday. What else is going on, ladies and gents? Let's talk a little bit about medicine that each and every one of us may or may not take on a daily. due to different reasons. A popular medicine, at least here in the western part of the world, I'm talking about that acetaminophen. Acetaminophen, baby, aka Tylenol. Sometimes maybe Advil, mostly Tylenol. But yeah, I read a little article, and it is amazeballs at the effect that Tylenol has on peepsies. It's also very dangerous, I'll tell you that. But one of the people do apparently overdose on that. I didn't know that. I just found that out. Man. But another key feature of the Tylenol, which is apparently, this is the fun aspect. If you don't like go overboard, way overboard, apparently it makes you more prone to making riskier decisions. Getting a little bit, you may be a little bit more susceptible to a good time or just rolling with it. You know what I mean? They did a study, one group and then another group, so I guess two groups, one placebo group, let's call them PAs, one Tylenol group, let's call them TAs, for the sake of consistency at least. They were given, half the population were given Tylenols, half the population were given placebo pills, and they were instructed with one task, a simple task. You're asking yourself, God, tell us, please, we're dying. Tell us, and I'll tell you in just a second. Let the tension build up. You're wondering, what could the activity have been? Oh, man. Blowing up balloons. Blowing up balloons. They were given balloons, and they were instructed to blow into these balloons, try to get them as big as possible, but stop before the balloons pop. Both groups were given the balloons. They blew into the balloons, and it turns out the placebo adults, the PAs, the placebo group, the placebo adults, the PAs, that's right. The PAs got to a certain point after blowing, and they were like, you know what? I've blown this bubble large enough. This is sufficient amount of blow that I blew into this bubble. Enough air. It's large enough. I'm not gonna fly too close to the sun. This is as large as it's probably gonna get. I'm not gonna take those couple extra inhales and exhale into that balloon and risk losing it all. Because what do we hear? This study, I don't know how much they were paid, but they're probably all paid the same amount of money. So they could have really try to strive for a larger balloon, but no, something inside him, a rational voice, having only taken a placebo pill, that was probably nothing, maybe a sugar pill, maybe nothing pill. It's a nothing pill. So they took a nothing pill, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna stop at maybe, let's say, yay big. I'm fine with this. This is fine. Maybe I don't have the largest balloon, but this is quite big. And meanwhile, on the TAs, the Tylenol adults, guess what they did? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale. And the balloons, what happened to the balloons? They got big, and they got bigger, and they got to medium big, and they even surpassed medium big, which is, now you're walking into territories of large big. And oh my God, now we're borderline the same size as the PAs. So we're looking at balloons, but something inside the brains of the TAs went like, Daddy wants bigger balloons. Mommy wants bigger balloons. And she kept on blowing into the balloons, and so did he, and they blew and blew. And they're like, man, I see the sun, but I want to keep flapping them wings. Fucking flapping, and blowing too. Just crazy to flap and blow. Man, oh man. And they blew, and eventually their balloons, the majority of their balloons, popped, ladies and gentlemen. And from that little study that we did together, we, the collective human species, did together, I'm not going to take credit for this individual, there's a group of scientists out there and a group of volunteers who are looking at ads and stuff and volunteer for medicines and trials and tests. That's a cool line of work. I'd like to have a couple of interviews with those fellas, the fellas and ladies who sign up for, medical roulette, essentially. It's like, let's take these pills and see what happens. And at least these are Tylenols. You know what happens, unless they're pushing the boundary with overdoses. But I think they were just going with a limited number of Tylenols and placebos just to see if any changes occur in the behavior of the individuals involved, and apparently it just makes you a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more nonchalant to like risk aversion. You're like, you see risk, you're like, I'm gonna just keep going. And apparently Tylenol does that. So, you know, if you want to have a good time, it's essentially what we learned from this whole study. Take a couple of Tylenols. But also, fucking be careful out there, son. You don't want to be taking too many Tylenols. You don't want to be taking anything for that matter. Natty all day, every day. But if you do get a little back pain here and there or something, I'm not advocating anything. I'm not in bed with Big Pharma at all. As a matter of fact, our beds couldn't be further apart. We don't even sleep in the same house. Oh man, this relationship with Big Pharma's gotten cold. It was always cold. Big Pharma never loved you. Only in it for the money. That's Big Pharma. But point is, medicine does a lot of good too. I'm not here to like. It was just an interesting fun fact because it makes you, you know, that's the thing. That's the type of, you know, if you that's how you easily can just like get your kid. That's how kids turn trans, dude. That's how kids turn trans right there. You know why? Because, you know, you're like, oh, I'm gonna drop my kid off at school. And in between the day, while I'm, you know, you're maybe a homemaker. You're a lovely lady homemaker, lady at a house, maybe you even work outside the house too. But whatever. For that day, let's say you're supposed to just stay home, do your things at home, and then you decide to, or maybe you're a stay-at-home dad. Maybe you sent out your wife out there to work and you're a stay-at-home dad. And it's low-key weird, but okay. So you're like, oh, I'm not, you know, whatever. I'm not feeling too bueno. I want to pop a couple of Tylenols. And you've dropped off the kids, and you're supposed to pick them up at, let's say, 3:30. But, you know, 3's rolling around the corner, and all of a sudden you're like, maybe, you know, maybe Jimmy's old enough to figure it out. Get home, Jimmy. And then, yeah, normally Jimmy's used to you going out there and picking him up. But now Jimmy's not being picked up. He is spending extra time with God knows who, learning God knows what. And there you go. Your kid's trans because you took a couple extra Tylenols. If you would have just spent a little bit more time with these kids, and it's fine if they grow up to be, you know, that's complete. I'm just saying, you know, if you want to, you're like, I wonder how good, like, how can I, you know, so that they're not as prone to being, you know, pick them up on time. Stop popping so many Tylenols. Unless you're like, oh, I want my kids to be trans, then pop Tylenols. Straight pathway to trans. That's, I think, the dots are there. If you want to connect them, do it. You're the one who set it. I was just thinking it, and this is what happens sometimes. Boys and girls, ladies and gents. You know, that's what it is. Makes you a little bit just like, a little bit looser with the rules and just regulations and what have you. Or it could not. It could totally be fine too. It could totally be fine. Literally, life is a big old mystery, and you'll have to wait to see what happens for the mystery. For the mystery novel, this is a mystery novel. It's there's a someone's on the loose. Someone's out there doing it. Being proactive, taking steps. That's what life is all about. Anyway. Anywho, anywhere, anytime. Anyhow, what else is going on? I did see a cool, interesting video. It's a scientific video. This fella's really cool. I believe they're working on, this is not new, it's in development. It's been something that we, your boy and yourselves out there doing it together, we've been collectively working on anti-aging. It's a big thing. It's been part of, you know, the elixir of life, the elixir of immortality, the elixir of youth, or whatever it is. There's different variations throughout time. I think humanity's always been interested in this realm of exploring human longevity, prolonging life, or also somehow countering aging. And that's, I guess, this is where the new battle lies. We're de-aging. We're learning to de-age. And how do we learn that? I learned this by watching a little video. It's a beautiful gentleman. I believe he was on Dre as well before. I forget his name, but he's a scientist. He works on, with a whole bunch of other scientists, they work on de-aging mice, and they just figured it out. They've done it. So they aged the mice actually. They aged the mice by changing their DNA, going into the genome, and the epigenome too. Not just any genome, but the epigenome, which is like how you read the genome and the genes and the DNAs. And that's how I understand it. They go into the genes of these mice, read these mice are out there wearing Levi's. These mice are out there wearing all sorts of denim. So you're like wondering, what are we even talking about? Gene editing? Do we want to turn a couple of shorts into shorter shorts, or turn jeans into jorts? That's what you wanted to say. You didn't mean to say shorts initially, did you? No, shorts, but jorts. Are we having a couple of pair of Levi's? What's going on here? Gene editing. Can that gene add a couple extra buttons on the hip? Do we need to, can you alter it so that it looks like it's been worn, but it's really brand new? Gene editing. What are we even talking about? Acid washing, gene editing, all sorts of, dark wash, light wash. The lighter the gene, the more processed it's been. Yeah, because natural genes are all like, heavy on the ink. Processed genes, the lighter you go, that's when all the chemicals are inside your genes, man. You want to get your stuff raw. You want to get your stuff just roaming around in nature. You want to see, that's how I want my genes, the type of genes that just roam around on nature. Free range genes, grain fed genes. And gene editing is a beautiful thing. We've been doing it little by little, whatever. We do it through agriculture, through food consumption, through whatever. We've been getting older, we've been aging quite nicely, and this is a part of it, I guess. But it is interesting to talk about it in terms of, I guess, a little bit of the morals and ethics, but it's also like, we do so many things, from drinking cleaner water instead of drinking river water from the past, let's say. That's your gene editing, essentially. In a sense, you're altering your diet, you're not getting diseases, you're enhancing your chance at life. Cooking meat is gene editing. Consuming food is gene editing. Consuming hormones is so all these things, just like I guess the question is, man, I think we're just like step by step, we are getting definitely closer and closer to some sort of either a symbiosis with tech, or just, fixing our body parts, or maybe a mishmash of both. That's singularity or something. But nonetheless, step by step, right? They got these mice and they took a bunch of them and they aged them by changing their epigenome. That's the genome inside it. That's how you read the genes, because they come with epigenomes, right? And basically, as you get older, the way I understood it is like your genes are good genes, but as they get older, they're like CDs. They're like CDs that get scratched. So a brand new CD, you can easily put it in your, CD-ROM, CD reader. Who has CDs anymore? But that's the analogy used, and that's how I understand it. So they said a CD that's been used, that's been scratched, that's our gene. From day one, you get this nice brand new pair of jeans, man. And then life starts scratching it all up. And then over time, you're having a difficult time reading what's on the disc, man. But there's good info that you like to get access to so that you can function properly, i.e. gray hairs, i.e. loss of eyesight. These are all as a result of apparently scratches doing it. Wicked scratch on them discs. So what they've done to these mice is they've taken some mice, they scratched them up, aged them, and then they didn't age the other mice. So it looks like one mouse looked really old and gray and shedding hair, and a part of his ear was missing. But also they were able to, allegedly, they were able to reverse that bad boy. So they aged the mice and then they de-aged them by reversing that, which is freaky. And these are mice, they're not humans. But I wonder what the possibilities are, and it's probably going to be, it's going to be mad. It's at one point, maybe they already are testing it on humans too. That's what I'm interested in. But that's the thing. You'll hear it when it starts like working properly, because I don't think if there are any tests right now, that's the thing. You wouldn't know. I wouldn't know about it either. Nobody would know about it, because like I would assume in the initial stages you want to keep it hush hush, because this could have severe consequences, and you'll need to do it for some time too. That's so that you could actually run a long study on it, not just like, because you might like run the test on the mouse and it could be like, okay, we're going to age the mouse and then de-age it and it's fine, and whatever, but the mouse lives for, I don't know, however long a mouse lives for. But then humans live much longer, and what if it has weird effects on humans? But I'm sure you guys will like think about that as well. But I'm also, skeptical in terms of just it's good to remain skeptical. I wonder if there are going to be any glitches. Like, let's say you start de-aging way too fast. You know what I mean? You go way too fast, and you're just like, you wanted to stop at like 22, but it just kept going. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden you're walking by your mom, and you're like, just like, oh, I wanna suck on them tits, and that's weird. Why'd you say that? Why'd you feel that? Because of gene editing. You're going back into infancy, and it's weird. And I wonder how it'll all play out. But hopefully it won't go as far back as your infancy. Hopefully we can like cap it out like whatever age you choose. But also there's also this, obviously we've talked about this before, this is not like a new thing. This is a repeated topic for me, but I do like thinking about it in terms of, man, I wonder what we're gonna do when we're all potentially living longer, potentially stepping into the bounds of immortality. Definitely we already are aging and living longer, and it's just getting extended with better food, with overall safety and everything in terms of better housing, better food, better access to medicine, all the beautiful things of modern society that we use and enjoy on a daily. These all play factors into, but that's definitely one thing that I saw, and I'm like, oh man, they're doing it to mice, man. Exciting things are happening, boys and girls. Turning back wrinkles, turning gray hairs into darker colored hair, depending on your hair color. And that's nice. That's kind of nice. Or like eyesight. These are lovely, man. But that's the thing too. Again, the same concept as a guest who lingers on for more than 3 days. I think at one point we will definitely have that sort of issue. But it all works out. At the end, I'm a very big old, call me optimist, call me, whatever you want to call me. And yeah, I think we're all gonna it's all good. But yeah, there's definitely the glitches are funny. The little mishaps are funny. Of course, until it's not funny, until we're doing like, oh man, we shouldn't be doing this in medicine, until it's not funny. But we don't know until we get there, do we? No. Unless they start telling us what they're doing. More so than they already are, because I would love to know if we're already testing it on humans, dude. You're telling me we're not testing it on humans, dude? You're telling me we've not aged and de-aged a fella or lady, a couple of low-key, underground, overseas on an island, somewhere on an exclusive island where nobody knows about the island. Maybe the island's not even mapped on the map. That'd be dope. Oh man, if I found out that we have like land that we didn't low key, because like that's the thing, you see the map and you're like, okay, the continents are there, beautiful, everything's spaced out, nice, body of water, land, cool. What if low key, there's like one island, a couple islands, there's just like somebody would I've got a ton of money, right back in the day of like, if I were in the days of map making and circumnavigating the globe and everything, if we discovered everything at one point, if I discovered a little tiny island, I would have been like, to whoever's drawing it out, I'm like, just leave this one out. Let it be. Don't worry about it, is what I was saying. Wouldn't it be fun to have the undisclosed island? But then, yes, it would be. It depends. With great power comes great responsibility, and that's where I think Celebrity Island is. I've talked about this before. I do believe sometimes, or want to believe rather, that there is Celebrity Island where the celebrities that we've lost too early have departed to an undisclosed location, and they get to basically live their lives, and they don't need to worry about whatevs. I'm talking Tupac. I'm talking Amy Winehouse. I'm talking all them good goods. But that's just wishful thinking. But it'd be pretty dope. We do legit though, fantasy aside for a second, a little bit of global warming is low key. I do, just hear me out on this. Greenland. Let's talk about it, Greenland. Let's talk about it. Massive amount of land, right? Massive amount of land. I'm saying, who's got the dibs on them? Greenland's Canada. Because who's close to Greenland, dude? No one's closer to Greenland than Canada. It's us in Greenland. Greenland's ours, dude. I'm taking it. We're taking it. We took it. Has anybody declared is Greenland it's its own nation? It's a thing? Do people live there? Because it looks really cold, but it is little by little, perhaps becoming habitable. It definitely will be in the next 100, 200 years, dude. 100, 200 years, you know we're going to be real estate up in Greenland, son. Up in them, whatever Greenland's got. It's got nature, it's got elements, it's got, fresh water, it's got ice. Put that water on ice, put you on some ice, baby boo. What you know about that? Greenland probably got a lot of natural resources. It's just a bunch of land, but that's what it is. Hopefully, with just a little bit of if we could, you know what it is? I've been thinking about this. We should, low key, you know how there's going to be hopefully evolutions of Earth, and then at one point we can advance into a civilization as a species where we can potentially, hopefully, if we can get in charge of, if we can control the Earth's movement, think about that for a second. If we can control the Earth's movement so the Earth becomes a ship on its own, that'd be pretty dope. But that's way, way ahead. Before that, I'm just tossing it out there. How do we all feel about, after seeing what just happened in Buffalo and potentially what always goes down here in Canada, how do we all feel about how much money does it take to get our roads heated? Low-key, fam. Hear me out on this, dude. I know we splurge on a bunch of stuff. When it comes to this, that, and the other, budget's not an issue. Yo, how much money, low-key, does it take to get them roads heated? Is it feasible? Is it too wild? Is it doable, though? Maybe, you know what I'm talking about? Piping would have been ideal when we laid out the initial layers of the concrete and the roads, but I guess that phase has already come and gone. That ship has sailed already. We can't tear up the roads to put piping for hot water to run through. That would have been smart. That would have been nice. Maybe probably not smart, because I'm assuming with a lot of pipes comes a lot of maintenance and what have you. But I'm just thinking overall, the amount of money that we spend every year in terms of cleanup, in terms of putting out the salt, getting all the trucks out there to plow the snow. What if the roads were just it's starting to snow? Let's just turn on them pipes. Get the water run through the city, son. No? Too much? Maybe that's too much, but what about, okay, hear me out on this. It's not been invented, not that I know of anyway. What about, you know how on your windshield, on your rear windshield in your car, you have lines that are just thin electric lines that just warm up the windshield or the rear window. And then all of a sudden, it's not foggy. All of a sudden, the snow is melted. Yo, thin wiring. Can we run a bunch of those thin wires on them streets somehow so that they get incorporated into the roads? But I guess that will also, again, it's an idea. Somebody should make this, or maybe incorporate it with some sort of put a little bit of put that wire inside a rubber tube of sorts so that it can absorb weight and pressure and lay a couple of them bad boys and bad gals out on them streets. You know what I mean? I'm just saying if it's not, if somebody's thought about this, perhaps it's not a great idea, but it seemed it would have been nice. It would have been, I'm not gonna lie, because I just saw again, looking at 77 inches, a little part, I low-key a little bit of I just shot myself right then and there. I'm oh man, it's coming here too, dude. It's coming here too. You know that, because it comes here. And it just missed us. We got a good bunch of it too, but I'm just if we had heated roads, but then if we had heated roads, man, I'm just saying, dude, if it was, and thank God it's not up to me, but if it was up to me, we'd have heated, instead of, that's what it was. I would give every road heating. Probably cost billion, it would probably bankrupt the country. I'm not gonna lie to you, but at the end of the day, if we take a big L together, but also not have to shovel as much snow, it's not a big L, is it? It's just a little bit of investment into our future. Just saying, dude. Next time you see a pothole, and instead of filling it back up immediately, maybe toss around the idea with the whole crew. Just be like, yo, should we just lay down some wiring? Should we put down like a experiment? Maybe with like a little hot water bag. You know, the type of hot water bags that you hopefully, give to your boo-boo. Your boo-boo's having her period and she's cramping up. Your babe's having her period. It's that time of month again. And guess what? Because you've been accustomed to all this whatnot, you immediately can be like, oh, I know, we can, if you like, put some of that water in this water heater bag thingy, boil some water and put it in a bag, and then you give it to your boo, and then she's like, oh, my period still hurts, but I guess it helps sometimes. I don't know. How do periods work anyway? Who knows? Mysteries of life. The point is, toss one of those hot waters bags into the pothole and then just like smooth it out, and then watch what happens over the period that water bag is going to get cold fast. So that's probably not a good idea. Just saying it out loud. And I'm the type that'll admit if it's not a good idea, and that right there seemed like not such a good idea, but I'm just saying, think it over, fam. I love you all, gang. This has been a wonderful, wonderful start to a new week. We're kicking butt, we're taking names. The name of the show is Glad You Made It. Tickling your membranes from afar, hopefully from closer and nearer, sooner rather than later. Trying out here, doing it with the gang. Love y'all, sending y'all big hugs, big kisses, big positive energies. I'm just gonna mix it up in there. Everything, love, emotions, good thoughts, positive energy, little bit of that. If I had it, I'd give it to you. If I had a little bit of hepatitis, I'd give it to you. If I had a little bit of if I had the old monkeypox, I'd give it to you guys. If I could, I would. That's the type of gang syndicate that we share everything. What's mine is yours. STDs for everybody. UTIs for everybody. Whatever you want, we got it here. We mix it up, we mix it down. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Glad you made it. Catch it on youtube.com/@RobSadri. That's now the handle. Hells yeah. And patreon.com/RobSadri. And on Instagram, you can find me by searching Rob Sadri or Glad You Made It. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. And check out Patreon and talk about it. And I'll see you guys back here again on Wednesday. Peace out.